All right, so we are headed to Northwood Park. I'm gonna play the Black course today. And I don't know if I'm ready for it. It's a little early in the season for me. I'm not quite up to where I want to be. My putts are decent. My forehand has been feeling pretty good. The backhand has been kind of all over the place. You never want to go into a course of this difficulty having any part of your game that's a little off. So this will be a challenge. The good news is, so Northwood Park in Morton, Illinois has two 18-hole courses. The old course, for anybody that's been around the area, knows it's gone through a lot of changes. The first course was put in, I want to say in around 2001. Seems early, but we'll call it 2001, 2005, something in that range. It was 18 holes. It had what was called the Orchard, which was the back nine. It was a bunch of 250, 300-foot holes that were just, it was a deuce fest. Basically, you knew going into the Orchard, you'd have to get about 6 birdies to be competitive. And then around 2010, 2011, and I could check the dates to be exact, but that's ballpark. 2011, they redid the course. They pulled the Orchard out, left some of the shorter holes out, combined a couple, replaced a few things, and turned it into basically what we had for a number of years, and it was arguably one of my favorite courses. I've got a couple other ones that I enjoy. Camden 2 and Milan, which is in northwestern Illinois by the Quad Cities. Really, really good course. Has a Camden 1 and Camden 2. Camden 2 is the good one. But then when we had Worlds here, and maybe some of you watching this video aren't from the area, you've seen some of the pros. I want to say it was 2019, but anyway, they redid, I should say they redid. They added some holes for the World Championships, and they called it Northwood Black. And Northwood Black was basically the Northwoods course that we had from 2011, but they added 5 holes that were like ridiculous 1,000-foot par 5s, long holes. They combined a couple other ones. For example, they combined holes 6 and 7 for the original course into one long par 4, which I believe was hole 3, I want to say. And then after World Championships, there were some of those holes that they knew were not going to be permanent holes. There was the second of the 2,000-foot par 5s was next to like a conservation area, and so they knew they weren't going to be able to keep that hole there, so they yanked that one out. And then they took the holes that they created, and then they added all the rest to create a full 18-hole course, and then they reverted the old course back. So now there are 2 courses at Northwoods. One's called Northwoods Blue, and one is called Northwoods Black. And Northwoods Black is what you saw in the World Championship, plus several other holes. And the guys that have done there, Kip Toffer, who's worked on all the Morton courses, has done so much. Greg Nettles, who's in the design. I mean, there's just a lot of people who've been part of the design and building process, and it's just 2 amazing courses. Now, the cool part about it is not only are there 2 18-hole courses, Northwood Blue and Northwood Black, there are also short and long tees. Now, the interesting thing about the long tees, there are not long tees for every hole. So what I'm going to play today is I'm going to play Northwood Black shorts. Now, what that means is there are not short and long tees for all the holes. So what you're going to see is a mixture of the hardest Northwood Black and some of the shorter tees. So there are actually 9 holes on, actually, interestingly enough, there are 9 holes on Northwood Blue and 9 holes on Northwood Black that have short and long tees. So you can play Northwood Blue shorts and Northwood Blue longs, and there's going to be 9 holes that are going to be the same, but there's going to be 9 that are going to have longer tee pads. So today, I don't feel like I'm ready for the full Northwood Black experience, which could take 3.5 hours. Part of that is I have to be home in 2 hours. My wife has got somewhere to be, so I've got to be home in a couple hours. The second thing, I don't think my game is ready for the full Northwood Black. But what you are going to see is you're going to see 9 of the holes from Northwood Black, but then there are 9 holes that are going to have short tees, which for me, and I'm not a 1,000 rated player, so that course is designed for 1,000 rated players to do the things they need to do, and even for them it's difficult. I think right now I'm in the mid 920s. I think my peak I was a 940 rated. So let's just say I'm somewhere in the lower advanced bracket. So I don't drive 400 or 500. I'm not going to be crushing through, which, let's be honest, you don't need 500-foot drives when you're in the woods. So what you're going to see today is Northwood Black, and when I go through and do the post production, I will put which ones are the longs and which ones, like some of them you're going to see, even though they're the quote unquote shorts, they're legit. Like they are the Northwood Black full on. I think hole 15 is 650 feet narrow, got a huge ravine off to the left. Like it is, I don't care what you play, if you're playing Northwood Black, whether it's short or long, it is no joke. So I'm just hoping for a quicker round, no lost plastic. I don't really have a score idea. I mean, if I can shoot, oh boy, if I can shoot 70, I'll be thrilled. I think with the shorts, we'll call 70 to 75 a victory. Even though I'd like to shoot in the 60s, but we'll see how it goes. I'm almost there. I'm about 5 minutes out. Got a little construction here on the interstate I had to hit, but should be a fun day. Trying to stay, it's about 80 degrees, a little less than 80 degrees, little like 5 to 10 mile per hour winds. It's a beautiful day. It's just an absolutely beautiful day. So hoping beautiful day results in some good disc golf. So we'll be back and I'll do a post wrap up to see if my positive energy translated into some good golf. So all right, so here we go. We are at Northwood Park, and for any of you guys that have this on your bucket list, you come up this big long path through the park, and you come in, and if you park right here, they've actually got a couple practice baskets. So they've got a gold one here, and then a new pavilion they built. Sort of on the other side of that pavilion's another practice basket. So the courses themselves actually start at the same place. I'll walk you guys through a little bit here. So main parking lot, you got some side parking over there. To the right here is actually the blue course. So that's blue hole number 4 is over there. You've got 13, 14. So I don't know if you can see, there's an orange basket way down there. That's another one sitting there. That's actually one of the holes I don't care for. See another one way back down there. So the one straight ahead there, if you watch the Worlds, that's blue, Northwood Blue, hole 4. They actually did it as Northwood Gold, hole 1. So if you watch the Worlds out here, that is the first hole they teed off on. So there's the other orange practice basket. And hole 1 for each course is actually right here. So the one we're gonna play, so hole 1 does not have a short and long, so I will be playing the more difficult. So more difficult hole there. All right, so we've got some cool signs here you can check out. Again, I don't know if it's going to be really obvious how these two are kind of interacting. A little breezy today. I thought it was 5 or 10, but it's gusts 10 to 15. It's going to be a little fun on the open holes. All right, so here's the sign for Northwood Blue. And so Northwood Blue has an interesting setup. So you got the sign right here, hole 1. It's actually tucked in the woods there. 1, 2, and 3 play back in the woods. And then you come back out there, walk by the practice basket, and hole 4 is there. And then Northwood Black, notice the maps, got that little part up there, almost like a horseshoe. Same thing, kind of loops through the same stuff. Different area of land though. So Northwood Black actually goes back over in this area, almost to the left. So if that's hole 4 for Northwood Blue, Northwood Black is way down here. So this is hole 1. I've never come close to birdie in this one. It seems like, oh yeah, it's just straight ahead down the hill, but it's 455. I don't have that power, and you got to throw it 455 straight down the hill. Yep, so that's it. I'm gonna go grab my stuff, come over here and tee off. I'll probably throw 2 on the first hole just because I'm a little tight, but this will be, I'm up for a challenge. Yeah, a little breezy today, a little breezy. So here we go, hole 1, downhill, 455 feet. Very narrow, OB all along the left side, hill along the right side. If you're gonna miss, you wanna miss right. So that's why I am gonna throw my plasma catalyst forehand. I wanna pop it up flat if possible, and if it finishes right, I'm fine with that. Again, you do not wanna be left. There is OB and some heavy woods. So this catalyst flipped up very, very nicely, hit one last tree down at the bottom, or I would have skipped up probably to about 45 feet, maybe a little closer. As it is, I'm quite a ways out, so I'm just going to take my spike, throw it up around the left side. And in hindsight, I was actually thinking about this. There is a wide open gap to the right. That one very easily could have hit that last tree. I mean, it would have given me a 20-foot putt, but there was a better route to the right. I could have just hyzered a putter in, but a par is a par. That is, I don't think I've ever birdied that one, so I'm okay with a 3. Hole 2, so this is one where I didn't know they added a short tee. Since the last time I was here, they added one. I love the long tee. It's one of my favorite holes. This one, I actually don't like the short tee as much. It's a very tight forehand hyzer, or in this case, I'm actually going to throw my Insanity, which is my flippy fairway driver, and I'm going to try to get it up around the corner. Hopefully I get some distance out of it. And I liked the turn. I wanted to get it a little bit higher, though. And so because it's short, I'm kind of pinched off here, and I really don't have a straight shot at it. And so I had to throw my Insanity a second time, and again, didn't quite get it high enough, but I did not want to finish left. On that second shot, if you finish left, it's pretty good chance you're going to get a bogey out of it. So right here, I'm sitting about 50 feet, maybe a little bit more for birdie. And my first one, I just left it a little left. And you'll notice this is just kind of a casual round. I actually made the second one, so you'll see me putt twice on a lot of them. I always count my first one, so on that one right there, I did not count the make. I always count the miss, or whichever one comes first. So a little cleanup action here. I'd say from the long tees, this hole 2 is probably my top 3 favorite holes on this course. The Northwood Black, it's a great, I love placement par 4s. Very specific landing zone. Speaking of, hole 3 here. This one, the sign doesn't do it justice. It is downhill. I won't call it sharp, but it's definitely not gentle. So you have a fade down to the right, and even with a perfect drive, so I'm going to forehand a Lucid Felon. I don't know if this is really a backhand hole. I mean, you could throw something that turns over, but for me, it's just a nice, easy, see, I didn't even really put much into that. Forehand Felon, landed down near the bottom, but even if you landed down in the bottom, and I landed in a perfect place, I now have this 10 to 12 foot wide window. Left is awful. You do not want to go down there. It's down in a little creek, probably 10, 15 feet down. And so I'm going to throw my Envy, and I thought I threw a really good shot. I kind of got it nose up a little bit, so it lost a little distance, and I ended up being way short. But you'll notice the gap to the left there up the hill. If you can get it to come through that gap I threw with a little bit more forward momentum, it'll slide down to this area right here. And it's a pretty big landing area here. You just got to make sure to get it through all the trees. And I had kind of a look. I had a couple branches in my way, and the footing was awkward. A few thorns were stabbing me, so I kind of threw a little rushed shot and missed it. But that one I'm not too upset on. You could throw a perfect first shot, and it's all about that second shot. And that's why I love par 4s like that. Just position golf, but even if you put yourself in the right position, it doesn't guarantee you're going to get a birdie out of it. So we clean up a little there, and decent start. I mean, I'm not upset going par to start. Definitely could be worse, but on this course, pars are not necessarily a bad thing. All right, hole 4. This one is also a placement one. There's a lot of little trees, and I have not thrown this new pin here, or this new tee. I think the tee used to be down, the short tee used to be down to the left. So what I'm trying to do here, and in hindsight, I probably should have gotten more aggressive, is I just threw a nice, easy M4 about 250 out there, and I needed to get a little bit further because you see right here, I now have to throw a forehand, and I'm just not quite far enough up the fairway to give me a clean look. The pin area on this is just amazing. They did such a good job. There's a nice bridge, a little landing area that's probably circle 1 size, and so here I had to throw kind of a flex forehand Lucid Felon. It was actually a pretty good shot, but I went way too long. I mean, I thought I would hit some trees. I didn't hit anything until the path back to hole 6 or hole 5. And so I landed way, way, way back here. And once I got to it, I mean, there were branches everywhere. Even this little, so I decided to play a little high putter and let it fade back in. But even there were branches in the way. So I usually take my time on these, but for this one, I kind of floated it out there. There was absolutely nothing. I was happy with getting that close. That is one, though. 1, 2, and 3, I'm not upset about getting pars on. This one, distance-wise, I really wanted to get it, but there's a lot of danger you can get into, so I guess a 4 is not awful on that one. Hole 5 is a very unique hole. I've heard people complain about it. It is a very, very, very specific landing area. You're supposed to throw it 280 feet to a landing area that's probably 10 feet in diameter, and if you're in that landing area, you're perfect, and we'll have a nice, easy forehand or turnover putter shot up the hill. But it does go hard left 90 degrees and then curves back to the right. So you'll see here I throw my reactor, and I liked it. It finished a little left and it was a little short. So I only threw it about 260, and you see here I'm just pinched off. There's a big tree to the right, and if you could land to the right of that, there's a nice clear path up the hill. And it does go up. It's kind of hard to see in the video. So the only shot I had really here was to straddle to the side. And surprisingly, I did have a little gap here. It was about 5 feet wide. And I thought I could hit this. And all I'm trying to do is get it up the hill and give me a putt at it. And it worked out pretty nicely. You could hear, see, I'm talking, so you may not be able to hear it. It did clip a tree that kind of slowed me down a little bit. So I ended up being just outside of circle 1. But I mean, my putts have been okay. I was pretty confident in this one, but I won't say that I've been nailing every one of these from circle's edge, because that's just not the case. But felt pretty good at this point that I could make it. And I really wanted to, based on the fact that it's one of the shorter holes, and I know the holes that are coming up. And when that one went in, that was finally broke the seal. I was able to get the birdie and hit the second one too. So we're now 1 under after 5 holes. Not upset about that at all. Hole 6 is a tough hole. This is a question mark hole. From the short tee here, you basically have to be able to throw it 450, and if you can throw it 4 to 450 straight as an arrow, you can land down to the bottom to give yourself a really clean look. This place is a par 5. It's a tough, I don't know. It'd be a tough par 4, but a kind of a soft par 5. But from the longs, and that was my catalyst, that was a great drive. From the longs, this hole is brutal because you have to throw 2 perfect shots just to get down. So right here, I'm about 120 short of the corner, and you can't really get too aggressive because it's heavy woods on the left. So I just throw my Lucid Felon up around the corner, and that one's a little short. So I wanted it a little bit further ahead, because now what I have is I have this shot, and the basket is down to the bottom there, and then probably like 10 o'clock on a clock to the left. Like it cuts hard left. So again, 450 straight, hard left, and then another, you're almost going backwards from where the drive was going. And so I threw my Lucid Felon. I was really happy with that one. I didn't show it, but that one flexed. I know it finished right, but I was actually pretty happy it didn't hit any trees, and I ended up just right about circle's edge. And the camera work on this was a little sketchy. I apologize for that, but giving myself a birdie putt on this tricky par 5, I'm very happy with that. Again, I would have preferred not having that flex forehand third shot. And I made it. You couldn't see it because my body's in the way, but I just barely snuck it over the left edge. Excuse me, the right edge. So after 4 pars to start, I got back-to-back birdies, and hole 7, this is not one, I just don't have the confidence in my backhand on this. So I will throw, it's straight ahead, but there are a lot of trees. So I'm going to throw my Plasma Catalyst forehand, and I know what this is going to do. When I hit my gap, it always finishes right, and it finishes outside of circle 1. So right here, it doesn't hit any trees, so I know I'm going to be outside circle 1 and probably somewhere to the right, and that's exactly where I am. And unfortunately, if this would have gone 5 feet further, I might have had a little hyzer putt at it, but once I get in here, I knew where it was. It's just, there's nothing. That tree that's just in front of the basket kind of prevented me from doing much. So I can play, I'm going to try to make it, obviously, but I'm going to just throw a little hyzer out here. And that one actually went inside the tree. So that was a pretty bad run from where I was at, but there was not a good look. I will take a par on this any day. If you hit it early trees, you're looking at bogey or worse. That's one thing about this course. If you are off the fairway, there is no automatic scramble. You are going to have to work to get back and get your par. That's just the nature of the beast, and I love that. All right, which leads to hole 8, and this is the one hole where I screwed up on. So this is a really cool hole, a lot of danger. I won't say a narrow gap, but you've got to throw it through a tight little window, and if it ricochets right, there's a gully, like a ravine that you do not want to go down. And so I threw my Plasma Insanity, and it was a good shot as far as not getting in trouble, but it landed 110 feet short, way to the left. If you know this hole and you've played it, you know where the gap is. I'm over here, and they have cleared out a lot of stuff. So it's just kind of an easy little hyzer, and it does drop a little bit down to the basket area, as you see right here. And this one went a little further left than I wanted. I threw my Envy, and I kind of juiced it a little bit. Luckily, I think it hit the little log wall back there. There is out of bounds behind that. And I heard a thud when I threw it, so I left myself 20 plus here. And I heard the thud, and I didn't know what it was, but now I know it was just hitting that log wall behind. Again, par on that hole, very good. Hole 9. This one from the longs is brutal. I wish I could show you the tee shot. You have to throw it, so it's from here. I want to throw it 300 feet straight ahead, and then it gently curves to the left and give myself a nice upshot to a pretty protected green. The long tee is actually another 270 feet down the hill, so you have to throw it uphill. It ends up adding another 310 feet to the shot. Very difficult par 4. I threw a perfect octane, left me with a forehand, and I kind of got in the way on this one. That was a forehand Plasma Insanity, and I finished pin high, what I thought was about circle's edge, and it ended up being just a little inside that, probably about 20 feet. I was in this range a lot, this 20 to 30 foot range. I was in this range a lot today, and felt a little off on this one, because what I didn't show you was I actually threw a second drive on this hole, and I lost the disc. It was my orange Plasma Catalyst, because I wanted to check out the forehand, and I completely messed it up, lost it in the right side woods, and never found it. All right, so we finished the front 9 3 under with birdies on 5, 6, and right there on 9. We now transition to a hole that links together the front 9 with the back 9, but this is such a very different hole from every hole on this black course. It's wide open. Now, if you play it from the long, it has a very, very low ceiling, and I just don't have... I messed that one up. I threw my octane, and you've got to watch because there is a tree there that will knock it down, so I tried to just crest the hill, and I just threw it a little too low and ended up not really giving myself a birdie putt, even though it's only 320 feet. So I just laid up, took my par, and headed out. All right, hole 11 from the shorts is the easiest hole in the course. It's a gentle turnover, 260. I'm going to throw my M4. You could throw a putter. Just basically throw it straight with a little bit of turn. Let it do its thing. And that's exactly what I did. I don't know if you could hear me. I thought it was ace running. It was actually dead on line, just a little bit short, and I slid up to about 12 feet. It was pretty much a perfect shot. I don't really want to go too much higher than I did with that one because then it can go long. It does slope just a little bit downhill and could give you an annoying comeback putt. All right, here is the beast. The first long par 5, over 1,000 feet from the longs. I'm playing the shorts, so I'm only 725. This is such a difficult hole.
I found that if I push for distance, I end up being at the base of that hill, and I give myself almost no second shot. So what I try to do here is I want to play a flex forehand, and you can see it out of the hand. I just kind of yanked it a little bit. I want that to start a little further right and fade back. If I can land anywhere in that open area, I'm happy. I did not. I left myself a very tricky shot here on the left side. So now I'm forced to play a flex forehand. And it was okay, but it hit a tree on the left side, knocked me down, and kicked further in. And so I'm even worse off than I was before. And there is just no other play out of here other than what I did. No smart play. I just threw a roller, popped it out, and it was really, really good. But then it turned and turned and turned and turned, ended up on the left side of the fairway instead of being where I wanted. But luckily, it's up against one of these trees. It's right on the edge, so I was able to throw this shot, and I'm pretty comfortable throwing this shot. I know it seems awkward for a lot of people, but this step out, standing still forehand shot, and I let it leak a little to the right, but I'm usually pretty comfortable with that one with my verdict. And luckily it only left me it's inside 20. A little awkward here. I'm gonna have to kneel down because there is a branch that's kind of in my way there, but I was able to hit that. And I kind of rushed my second one. Again, I have not played a lot, so I've been doing that with my putts, just throwing 2 to get some practice in. All right, hole 13, probably my favorite hole in the course. Love this hole. There's quite a big walk from hole 12 to hole 13, and this typifies the type of shot that I like. It's not a long par 4, but it's a placement par 4. So you need to throw about 280, 290. And I threw my forehand insanity, and I love this out of the hand. And there's that one single tree. If it misses that tree, I skip down another 30 feet, and I'm in perfect position. And then it gently goes to the right. And there is water. You can't see it, but it is mucky, nasty. It's a pond there. So if I were to throw a full-on shot going for the basket, I'd have to throw a turnover backhand shot like that, but much, much, much harder, and bring the water into play. And I was very disappointed because this is one I really wanted to birdie. So I just threw my spike around the corner, laid it up, left me about 100, 110 here. So that green nastiness, that's water that you will never see your disc again. So very reluctantly, I went spike, almost rushed that. Took my par and got out of there. And at this point in time, I was a little behind schedule, so you'll notice I start rushing my shots a little more because I do not want to be late. Hole 14, not a big fan of this one. It is very challenging par 5. From the short tee here, so I'm going to throw my felon. It's just a nice, easy hyzer. And I threw that one maybe 250 just around the corner, and I couldn't have placed it any better, right in the middle. And if you're going to get a birdie, it's either this or trying to play some huge aggressive hyzer and trying to land further up in the fairway. I felt pretty good about where I was at. And so I got aggressive with my plasma catalyst forehand, and it leaked to the left, hit a tree, and dropped right back in the middle. That very easily could have gone the other direction left and been awful. So I threw another forehand. Again, I flipped it over a little bit with my insanity. And from there, that pretty much took birdie out of play. I'm way in here, and I'm actually pretty close. I'm going to say I'm like 70, 80 feet from the hole, maybe a little less, but I didn't want to mess with the camera because, again, I was in a hurry here. So there was an easy little forehand flick out of here. So I grabbed my felon, flicked it out, and that's all she wrote. Took my par. Yeah, I was in perfect position off my tee shot. I just threw 2 subpar shots that didn't really give me a chance and had to take the par. At this point in time, I am 4 under, so we're quite a ways in. Lots and lots of pars, so no major problems, but not as many birdies as I would have liked. So 14 holes in, 10 pars, 4 birdies. Hoping to get a couple here as we finish things off, but there's not a lot of opportunities back here. Hole 15 is probably my second favorite hole. This is another one that I didn't know there was a short tee on. They added it here in the middle of the fairway, and this is tight. You can't see it if you've never played this before. If you miss left, you may never find your disc again. It drops 20 feet down to a creek bed, and it is heavy, 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 nasty woods down there. And now at the bottom, it's actually not bad, but getting to it is. So here I threw a driver. It wasn't the best drive, but it settled right in the middle. That left me a shot that I'm pretty comfortable with my prime verdict. And out of the hand, I don't know if you hear me say beautiful. I loved it. It was just a perfect shot. There's a common theme with this course. There's a lot of little trees that you can hit, but the gaps, they're small, but they're fair. I don't think they're too unfair. Well, maybe 14. That one's kind of crap, but anyway, hole 16, if you watch the Worlds videos on Jomez, this was James Conrad threw a putter and hit chains on it. I threw a forehand. Get in. And I don't know if you can hear me yelling, get in. I thought it was going to be a pretty good ace run. It just missed short and right, but left me throwing a driver. I was surprised it left me that short, but it only left me 15 feet. Pretty nice. So that was a birdie I did not expect. The last 2 holes, so we went from 4 under down to 6 under. 17. This hole. This is the bane of my existence. It is a tight gap. You can go, so that big tree in front of me, you can go to the right of it or to the left. I go to the right of it, and I basically threw the same shot I did off the tee on hole 16, and it actually went too good. I don't know if you could see it there, but it hit the ground probably 20 feet short of the basket and skipped long. I mean, I thought I was going to be parked, and it almost went out of bounds. There's OB and a fence back there, and by this point in time, I'm in a rush. I didn't take my time on the putt. And unfortunately I left it short, and that frustrated me because I threw a really good tee shot on a hole that I usually bail out because that stuff short of the basket is out of bounds. At least it usually plays out of bounds, so you either have to go for it and land on the island there or lay it up short and try to make a 50-footer. So missing one from that little island kind of irritated me a little bit. Which leaves us with hole 18. Very difficult ending hole. It's a placement drive. You want to throw it about 280 to 300 out, finishing to the left. So I threw my octane, and I really couldn't have thrown this one any better. It finished right in the landing area, perfect spot. But then even there, it's hard to see. It's about 10 to 15 feet uphill. And so you have to crest the hill, but make sure it goes straight. And so I threw my catalyst with enough power, and it's a good line, but because of the uphill, it just faded out to the right and pretty much left me no chance at birdie. So outside, maybe the edge of circle 2, but I just kind of float this one up there, take my par, and get out with a much better round than I was expecting. I was expecting more danger, more problems, more scrambling, and I was kind of able to... I missed a couple birdies I maybe should have gotten, but I really didn't mess up too much. So there you go. That is Northwood Black short tees. One of these days I will play the longs when I'm in a little better shape and throwing a little better with the backhand, because I am going to have to utilize the backhand a little more than I did today. You can kind of see from watching I relied on the forehand quite a bit. And that's all she wrote.
All right, round at Northwood Black shorts, all done. Definitely have to say I am not in disc golf shape. I'm exhausted right now. Not bad. They have added, I've not played a lot since October. They added a couple short tees that I was not aware of. So I thought there were going to be 9 long and 9 short, and I think they added 2. I'm trying to think which holes. Hole 2 had a short tee. I think there were 3. So you guys saw 6 holes that are part of the black course, and it looked like they're clearing out some paths. Maybe they're going to add all short tees for those, but not bad. I definitely did not trust my backhand. I was relying on the forehand quite a bit, which is fine. It's usually pretty strong. Flipped over a couple times for me, but that was a tough course. I mean, they've definitely cleared out a lot of the rough, but it is unforgiving. I mean, if you are off the fairway, you are in trouble. I don't even know what my actual score was, because I was filming and my phone was losing battery quickly. In fact, when I got to the car, it was at 2%, so I wasn't sure I was going to get hole 18, but I was able to get it. And I started to speed up. When you watch the footage, I started to speed up near the end because I was supposed to be home at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to be a little late. So I was not taking as much time on those later holes, which it didn't seem to really affect me too much. I threw some good shots. I was really upset at the end. I threw a great drive on hole 17. It just skipped a little long. It stayed in bounds, but I missed the birdie putt. That sucked. I really wanted that one. But yep, pretty happy. Once I'm in game shape, I'll come out and play the official Northwood Black longs. But again, based on what I threw today, I am not ready for that yet. So I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage. I'm going to start throwing some real life. I got weird lights going on here. Some more real life rounds in there because I'm not just really playing DGV all that much. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.